The night was painted in shadows. A cold wind tore through the open side of the helicopter, howling like a warning from the abyss below. The rotors thundered above her, chopping through the air like a heartbeat, steady, unrelenting. If this clip got you curious, the full story is waiting for you. Links in the description and in the comments below. Captain Elena Cross knelt at the edge of the ramp, her boots inches from the open void. The glow of the instrument lights flickered across her face, revealing eyes that had seen too much but still held fire. 2 minutes to drop. Zone? The pilot's voice crackled through her earpiece. She tightened the strap of her parachute and checked. Her rifle won last time. Every motion was deliberate, not rushed, not hesitant. The rhythm of preparation had always calmed her. Tonight, though, something felt different. This wasn't just another mission. Below her lay the Black Ridge, deep inside enemy territory, a mountainous region crawling with insurgents. Intelligence reports said an American reconnaissance team had been captured there 2 days ago. The enemy was broadcasting threats, boasting that they'd make the captives disappear before dawn. Command wanted silence. Elena wanted redemption. Her hands trembled briefly, not from fear, but memory. The last time she jumped like this, her team hadn't come back. She closed her eyes for half a second. This time, no one dies because of me. Cross, her sergeant's voice cut through the comms. You sure you're ready for this alone? Always, she said. Her voice was steady, colder than the wind. The helicopter banked left, and the world below opened. Endless forests, fractured terrain, distant flashes of gunfire. 30 seconds. Elena took one deep breath. The air was thin, the kind that burned your lungs but sharpened your mind. She stepped forward into the open ramp and felt the weight of everything. Her past, her promise, her purpose, pressing against her chest. Then she jumped. For a heartbeat, there was nothing but silence. The wind swallowed every sound, every thought. She was weightless, falling through darkness, through fear, through every ghost she'd ever carried. The red light from the helicopter vanished behind her. The only thing left was the night, vast, merciless, and alive. She opened her chute low to avoid radar, the canopy snapping open with a sharp crack. Below, the forest stretched like a black sea. Smoke curled up from a small village near the ridge, her landing zone. Eagle 1 to command, she whispered. I'm in. No response. Just static dots, she frowned. The signal was jammed. Perfect, she thought. They know I'm coming. The ground rose fast. She hit hard, rolled, and came up crouched behind a tree, rifle ready. Every instinct in her screamed danger. The air smelled of gunpowder and something else. Something worse. Death. Through the branches, she saw movement. 2 enemy scouts, patrolling, rifles slung carelessly over their shoulders. She melted into the shadows. Heart steady, breath silent. They passed within 10 feet. One muttered something in a language she half understood. They were laughing. She waited until their backs turned. Then she moved like a ghost. 2 soft clicks. 2 silent shots. Both men fell before they knew they'd been hunted. She dragged their bodies behind a fallen log, stripped their radios, and listened. The voice on the other end said something that made her blood run cold. The prisoners are being moved to the old bunker. Execute before sunrise. Elena's jaw tightened. Sunrise was 3 hours away. She wiped the blood off her knife, looked toward the distant ridge glowing faintly under the moonlight, and whispered to herself, then I'd better move fast. The forest swallowed her whole. Elena moved through the trees like a phantom, silent, invisible, breathing in rhythm with the night. Every step was calculated. Every sound could mean discovery. The smell of wet soil and burnt metal hung heavy in the air. And somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled, or maybe it was just the wind, bending through broken branches. She crouched behind a tree and unfolded the small holographic map from her wrist pad. The old bunker was buried inside a ravine, about 2 kilometers ahead, once a cold war communications post. now converted into a fortress by the enemy. She had 3 hours before sunrise. 3 hours before those prisoners were gone forever. She started moving again, crouching low beneath tangled roots and fallen logs. Her boots sank into the mud with every step, but she didn't slow down. She trained for this infiltration under complete silence. Alone, outnumbered, the rhythmic sound of insects faded as she neared the ravine. That silence told her one thing. Men were close. She knelt behind a rock, peering through night vision lenses. There they were, 2 guards at a checkpoint, a truck parked nearby, its engine faintly humming. Behind them, a slope descended into a tunnel carved into the earth. Dim light flickered inside the bunker entrance. She watched for patterns. One guard smoked. The other leaned lazily against the vehicle, sloppy, overconfident. She crawled closer, her body flat against the earth. A twig cracked, too loud. The smoker turned, squinting into the darkness. Her pulse spiked. He muttered something, started walking toward the sound. 10 meters. 5. Elena froze. She pressed her cheek to the mud, hand tightening around her knife. The guard stopped right in front of her hiding spot. His boots brushed against the leaves beside her face. He turned his head slightly, and that's when she struck. One swift motion. She rose, covered his mouth, and slid the blade between his ribs. His body went limp in seconds. She eased him down without a sound. The second guard heard the faint rustle. "Sirkin?" He called. Elena grabbed the fallen man's rifle and fired. One suppressed shot. The second guard dropped. The forest went silent again. She dragged both bodies out of sight and slipped into the bunker tunnel. The air grew colder with every step, the light dimmer. Old concrete walls echoed faint drips of water and distant voices. Her earpiece buzzed with faint static. Then a broken signal pushed through. "Cross. Do you copy?" She froze. "Command? You're breaking up. Intel update. You're not alone. Enemy commander knows infiltration Trap." The signal died. Her stomach sank. A trap. The narrow tunnel opened into a wide underground corridor lit by flickering lamps. Shadows danced along the walls like restless ghosts. She moved quietly, checking each corner. One room at a time. Empty cells. Rusted doors. Then a sound. A cough. "Weak! Human." She followed it. Down the hall, behind a locked gate, she found 3 men, beaten, bruised, tied to pipes. American uniforms, stripped of insignia. One of them looked up when he saw her. His face lit with disbelief. "You're American?" He croaked. She nodded. "Special Forces. Keep quiet. I'm getting you out." The youngest one, maybe 23, whispered. "They said no one was coming. They were wrong." She cut their restraints. Her movements precise, efficient. But before she could finish, heavy footsteps echoed from the corridor. Voices. Dozens. The prisoner's eyes widened. "They know you're here." One said. Elena turned off her light and pressed a finger to her lips. She guided the men behind an overturned crate. Then she crouched near the door, weapon ready. The footsteps grew louder, boots striking concrete in sync. Then came the metallic click of a rifle bolt. A voice echoed down the hall, calm, commanding. "I know who you are, Captain Cross. You think you're saving them? You've walked right into my house." Elena recognized the accent. The voice belonged to Rashid Varric, a merciless commander she'd once hunted and failed to capture. He'd been presumed dead. Now he was here. "Drop your weapon," Varric said, "and maybe I'll let them live." Elena's grip tightened. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but fury. She whispered to the prisoners, "No matter what happens, don't move until I say." Then she stood slowly into the dim light. Her silhouette filled the doorway, rifle raised, eyes like fire. "I'm not here to negotiate," she said. "I'm here to finish what I started." The air crackled with tension. The corridor was silent except for the hum of overhead lights and the faint breathing of the men hiding behind. Her dot then dash click dot a rifle safety disengage. Somewhere in the dark, Elena's instinct screamed dot. She dove sideways just as gunfire erupted, bullets tearing through concrete and metal. Sparks exploded around her. She rolled behind a pillar, firing back in short, disciplined bursts. Stay down, she shouted to the prisoners. Muzzle flashes flickered like lightning. Shadows danced wildly across the walls. She counted 6. No, 8 shooters. Maybe more. Varrick's voice echoed, mocking. You always were predictable, Captain. Brave, but foolish. She switched magazines, gritting her teeth. And you were always a coward hiding behind numbers. Numbers win wars, he replied coldly. Elena took a breath, closed her eyes, and let her training take over. Her heartbeat slowed. Every sound became sharp, a footstep, a cough, the click of a weapon reloading. Then she moved, a blur of motion through smoke and gunfire, sliding, pivoting, firing. One man down. Another fell before he could even shout. The hallway filled with chaos. Bullets ricocheted. A grenade clinked on the floor. Down! Elena yelled. She grabbed the metal tray from the ground and hurled it. The grenade bounced off and exploded near the ceiling, collapsing debris on 2 of the attackers. She coughed through the dust, pulled the youngest prisoner to his feet. Move now! They sprinted toward the back exit, but the path was blocked. Steel gate, electronically sealed. Varrick locked it, one prisoner said, panicking. We're trapped. Elena knelt by the control box, prying it open with her knife. Sparks flew. Not for long. She stripped 2 wires, twisted them together. A low hum built, then click. The gate unlocked. Go! The men rushed through. Elena followed last, covering their retreat. But before she could shut the gate behind her, a voice came again, closer, angrier. Running won't save you, Cross. You left my brother to die in Kandahar. Tonight, I repay that debt. Her blood froze. Kandahar. That was the mission that haunted her, the one where her team was ambushed, the one where she'd been forced to call air support, knowing not everyone would survive. One of those men had been Varrick's brother, and now revenge had found her. She heard boots pounding behind her. The prisoners stumbled ahead into a massive chamber, the central power room of the bunker. Old generators roared, cables snaked across the floor, and overhead, a ventilation shaft flickered with orange light. Keep your heads down, she ordered. Varrick entered through the smoke with 6 men. He wore black armor, his rifle steady. His face scarred, calm, cruel. He smiled faintly. You could have lived, Captain. Retired, forgotten this place. But you came back. She took a step forward, her rifle still aimed. Because I don't run from ghosts, then die with them. The firefight that followed was pure chaos. Metal screamed, glass shattered, the generators sparked like fireworks. Elena moved with impossible precision, covering the prisoners while firing from behind cover. Every movement was a calculation, every shot a promise. A bullet grazed her arm. Pain seared hot, but she didn't stop. She threw a flashbang. White light burst across the chamber. In the seconds of blindness, she lunged, slamming into Varrick. Both crashing into a railing. His rifle clattered to the ground. They fought hand to hand, brutal and fast. Fists, elbows, knees. He was stronger, but she was faster. You killed innocent men. He roared. They were soldiers, she hissed, blocking his punch. They made their choice. So did you. He slammed her against the wall. Her vision blurred. He drew a knife, pressing it to her throat. Then she smiled. Bad move. She twisted his wrist, flipped the blade, and drove it into the power console beside them. Electricity surged, a blinding flash. Varrick screamed as current shot through the metal, throwing him backward. The lights flickered, then died. Smoke filled the air. Sparks rained down like dying stars. Elena staggered to her feet, grabbed her rifle, and limped toward the prisoners. We're not done yet. Follow me. Where are we going? One asked. Up. We're leaving this hell. Behind her, the generators began to explode one by one. Fire spread fast, roaring through the tunnel's dot as they ran. She looked back once, saw Varek's silhouette through the flames. Crawling, reaching, refusing to die, and she whispered under her breath, "You started this war, Varek. I'll finish it." Then she disappeared into the rising smoke. The world above was still asleep. But below, hell was burning. The bunker groaned and cracked as flames devoured its walls. Thick smoke rolled through the tunnels like a living thing, choking the air. Every breath tasted of ash and metal. Elena led the 3 rescued men through the winding corridors, her flashlight flickering as the heat rose. "Keep moving," she ordered, voice firm despite the pain in her arm. "Don't stop for anything." The youngest soldier, Private Mills, stumbled. "Captain." "My leg?" She turned, grabbed his vest, and pulled him forward. "You walk or you die. Those are your options." He nodded weakly and forced himself to keep up. They reached a vertical shaft, an emergency exit ladder that climbed toward a faint circle of moonlight. "Go," she said, "one at a time." The first 2 men started climbing. Mills hesitated, then followed. Elena waited below, scanning the hallway far off. Amid the roaring fire came the echo of footsteps, heavy, relentless. Varek. She felt it before she saw him, the rhythm of his boots. The sound of someone who refused to stay dead. When he finally stepped into view, half his face was burned, eyes gleaming through smoke. He carried a rifle in one hand, blood on the other. "You just don't quit, do you?" She muttered. He smiled. A slow, cruel twist. "Neither do you. That's why we're the same." She raised her rifle. "No, that's why one of us has to die tonight." He fired first. Bullets shattered concrete inches from her head. She dove behind a metal beam, returned fire. Sparks filled the tunnel, echoing like thunder. The prisoners were still climbing, almost halfway up the shaft. Elena couldn't let him get to them. She switched to her pistol. Lighter, faster. Then she moved, darting between cover, firing in bursts, forcing him back. But he was good. Too good. Every shot he fired pinned her down tighter. Every move cornered her closer to the flames. The heat was unbearable now. Fire licked across the floor, inching toward the ammunition crates nearby. "Captain?" One of the men shouted from above. "You have to come now." "Go!" she yelled back. "Don't wait for me." Then Varek's voice cut through the chaos, low and bitter. "You can't save them all, Elena. You never could." Something in her broke. The ghosts of Kandahar, the faces of her fallen team, flashed in her mind. She gritted her teeth. "You're right, but I can save these ones." She sprinted toward him. He fired, missed. She tackled him into the wall. The rifle fell. They struggled, fists colliding with bone, boots scraping steel. He was stronger, but she fought with purpose, not rage, not revenge, but duty. She landed a blow to his jaw, another to his ribs. He retaliated, slamming her into a pillar. The structure groaned, cracked, then collapsed partially between them. Fire surged higher, spreading fast. The bunker was seconds away from full detonation. Elena looked up. The men were almost at the top. She shouted, "Climb! Don't stop!" Varek emerged from behind the smoke, coughing, still alive. His voice was a whisper now. "You'll never escape. This place will bury you." She raised her pistol. One last bullet left. "Maybe," she said softly. "But not them?" She fired. The bullet hit the fuel line beside him. For an instant, there was silence, then a violent eruption of flame. The shock wave knocked her backward, slamming her against the ladder. The world became fire and noise. She barely felt herself climb. Her muscles screamed, her hands burned, but she kept going, rung after rung. One breath at a time. Above her, Mills reached down. "Captain, give me your hand." She reached up, fingers brushing his. The heat roared beneath her. Her gloves smoked. Her lungs felt like they were filled with glass. Pull. They dragged her up inch by inch until she collapsed on the dirt outside. The cold night air hit her face like salvation. Behind them, the bunker exploded. A column of fire erupted from the shaft, painting the night sky orange and red. The men stared in silence. One whispered, "Is it over?" Elena didn't answer. She just stared at the flames, breathing hard. Then she said quietly, "No, it's never over. Not for people like us." They started walking through the forest, away from the inferno, toward the extraction point. But even as the dawn began to rise over the mountains, Elena's mind was still back in that bunker, with the ghost she'd left behind. And deep down, she knew one thing: Varick's war might be over. But her fight was not. The forest was a graveyard of smoke and silence. Ash drifted through the air like black snow, and the rising sun painted the horizon blood red, a dawn that didn't feel like victory. Elena limped ahead, her uniform torn, her arm wrapped in a strip of cloth ripped from her sleeve. Each breath hurt. Each step reminded her she was still alive. The 3 rescued soldiers followed close behind, exhausted but moving. They were safe, for now, but the extraction point was still 2 miles away. Across open terrain, she checked her compass and whispered, "Keep low." We followed the riverbed until we hit the clearing. The forest thinned as they moved. Birds stirred in the branches above, cautious, as if sensing that war still lingered in the air. Private Mills finally broke the silence. "Captain, back there, in the bunker, why didn't you just leave us?" "You could have escaped." Elena didn't answer at first. Her eyes stayed on the path ahead. Then she said quietly, "Because I made a promise that no one else dies because of Emmy." The others exchanged a look, a mix of respect and disbelief. They reached the edge of the forest just as the first rays of sunlight broke. Through, a wide clearing stretched. Before them, grass burned black from earlier firefights. Pieces of wreckage scattered like bones. Elena lifted her radio. Eagle 1 to command. Package secured. Request immediate extraction. Static. Then a faint reply. Eagle 1, extraction inbound. 5 minutes. Hold position. She exhaled, relief washing over her, until she noticed something. Movement on the far ridge. Through her scope, she saw them, a dozen enemy fighters emerging from the tree line. They'd survived the blast. And they were hunting. Down. She barked, "Take cover." Gunfire erupted, ripping through the clearing. Bullets struck the ground around them, kicking up dust and sparks. Elena returned fire, precise and measured. One target fell, then another, but there were too many. The soldiers crawled behind a fallen log. "We can't hold them off," one shouted. Elena's mind raced. She looked up and saw the helicopter approaching in the distance, slicing through the dawn haze. They had to survive 5 more minutes. She pulled a smoke grenade from her vest and yanked the pin. A thick white cloud spread across the clearing, veiling them in fog. "Move under cover," she yelled. "Stay behind me." They advanced slowly through the smoke, bullets tearing through the air. Elena led from the front, firing bursts, covering every angle. Her world became rhythm: shoot, move, breathe, repeat. Then a scream. Mills fell. A shot had torn through his shoulder. Elena dropped beside him, pressing her hand against the wound. "Stay with me." His voice trembled. "I can't feel my arm. You don't need to. You just need to breathe." She lifted him, half carrying, half dragging him toward the extraction zone. The helicopter hovered lower now, its rotors whipping dust and smoke into a storm. The crew dropped a rope ladder. "Go! Go!" Elena shouted to the others. They climbed quickly. Mills was next. She pushed him up, hands shaking from fatigue, and that's when she heard it. A sharp metallic click behind her. She turned and froze. VAREC. Burned, bleeding, barely standing, but alive. His face was half shadow, half fury. He'd followed her out of the inferno, driven by something darker than survival. You really thought fire could kill me? He rasped out. Elena raised her pistol, empty. He smiled. Then it ends the old way, one soldier at a time. He aimed. Elena didn't move. Instead, she whispered something under her breath, not to him, but to herself. For my team. For the ones I couldn't save. Then she lunged forward as he fired. The bullet tore through her side, but she grabbed his rifle, forcing it upward. They struggled, grappling in the dust, inches from the roaring helicopter above. Varric slammed her to the ground. Raising a knife, Elena caught his wrist, eyes burning with defiance. You should have stayed dead. She twisted his arm. Bone cracked. The knife fell. She caught it mid-air and drove it into the ground beside his head, pinning him by his collar. He glared up at her. You can't kill me. She leaned close. I don't need to. The sky will. The helicopter's downdraft whipped through the clearing, fanning the flames still burning nearby. The firestorm surged, sweeping toward them. Elena stumbled back, bleeding. As the flames engulfed what was left of the battlefield, Varric's scream vanished into the roar of the inferno. She looked up at the ladder, vision blurring. The men were shouting for her, reaching down. She grabbed the rope with trembling hands and climbed. Every muscle screamed. Blood ran down her side. The wind tore at her gear. Halfway up, her strength faltered. Her hand slipped. For a second, she hung between life and death. Then a hand caught her wrist. Mills, got you, Captain. She looked up, saw his face through the haze, terrified, desperate, alive, and she smiled. Just a small, tired smile. Good job, soldier. They pulled her aboard. The helicopter lifted, rising through smoke and dawn. Below, the forest burned. The sky glowed orange, a sea of fire consuming the darkness. Elena leaned against the side door, watching the horizon fade. Her vision dimmed, her pulse slowing. Captain? Mills asked softly. Are you okay? She nodded faintly. Yeah, we made it. Then she looked out one last time, at the burning ridge, the rising sun, and the endless sky, and whispered, This is what special forces do. Her eyes closed. The world went quiet, above a dying battlefield. The helicopter soared into the morning light, carrying the weight of sacrifice, and the silent legend of the soldier who never stopped fighting. Hey, if you're still here, thank you. Seriously. It means a lot that you took the time to watch this all the way through. If this story made you think, made you feel, or just gave you a moment of peace, give it a like and share your thoughts below. I really do read every comment.